Hi, everyone. I'm Nicole Boone. Welcome to Conversations with Nicole. Today, my guest is Solicitor Jimmy Richardson of the 15th Judicial Circuit in South Carolina. The 15th District covers Horry and Georgetown Counties, and Jimmy has been the solicitor for this district since 2012. Jimmy, you are also my friend. It is good to see you. Welcome to Conversations with Nicole again.
Oh my gosh, thank you for having me. Time gets away from you, but I vividly remember the weekend before you left, and I promise I'm going to be back. I promise I'll come see you. I haven't seen you since, but I mean, we had COVID,
Yeah.
and that put everything on pause. And I know you enjoy married life and new scenery up in Rock Hill. So I know where Rock Hill is. So even if you don't come back here, I'll take a crowd. We'll come see you.
Well, that would be great. Nothing would be better than to see you in person again. I do miss News 13. I miss the people. I miss our friendship, getting to spend time with you outside of work, and some of our other friends that we would get together and fellowship together. And I think that's one thing that is special about you from a friendship perspective, for sure. 100% honest, true, fair, trustworthy, transparent. You're all those things when it comes to a friend, but beyond that, you're all those things when it comes to being a solicitor, an elected official. Not once have you ever said, no, I can't give you an interview. You've been honest about interviews. You're fully transparent with information. You're trustworthy. You're always open. You never hide anything when it comes to what's happening at the solicitor's office with cases. And there's a lot to be said about that. I respect that. And the people that you serve, I hope that they understand that as well. Thank you for your service and for being that person.
Well, thank you for making me blush, Nicole.
I mean it. I mean it. It's true.
I really did come into this job with three goals, and one was to be absolutely hardworking, to bring the same work ethic that I brought to working on a farm into this job. The second was to be transparent and totally honest. I think that people expect us to make mistakes, expect us not to be perfect. We believe that, or I believe that there was only one perfect man, and we end up crucifying him. And the third thing that I've always sort of said is that I'm going to return all of the calls. I'm going to be accessible if if you came in, or it usually wasn't you because you were working the desk, but if it were a situation, it wasn't that I wanted to be on camera. It is that I believe that the public has a right to know the good, the bad, and the ugly, and people are okay with messing up. The main thing people need to know from an elected official, whether it's here or the sheriff, is that they can trust you. And I really appreciate the compliment because it hits so close to home. You notice I never said that I'm going to study so hard and I'm going to be the smartest person, that I'm never going to lose a case, or that I'm going to always make the right decision. I don't think I could promise that with any certainty, but I know I can return calls, and I know I can tell the truth. And, I know I can work hard, and hopefully the hard work will produce better results more times than not. So I'm never going to tell you I'm the smartest guy in the room. We've got other smart people that can do that.
Well, I think you're smart, but hard work and honesty is what we expect all of us to be in any line of work, or we should expect that. And certainly we would expect that in an elected position. And you believe that too. So that's why you are that person, so I'm thankful for that.
We got a ton of, I mean, you remember Philip, and now you're up there with Kevin Tolson. Just been blessed with great sheriffs. They got a great solicitor up there in Rock Hill,
Yeah.
Kevin Brackett. And, I really model myself after those guys, but news and elected officials a lot of times just get kicked. And one way not to do that is to always work hard, always tell the truth, and be transparent and accessible. And if you don't have anything else, you got those three things. And Nicole, this isn't but I love you, and
I love
we've been
you.
friends for so many years.
Yes.
And it's not because we're doing conversations, but I've told you this over and over. You really became a part of basically every family that watched WBTW. And I've been out to lunch with you, and it's just amazing that people believe that it's almost like there's my cousin, Nicole, but you spent every night from 6 to 6:30 with them, and built that sort of trust. And I think that goes for a lot. So maybe that's how we found each other. But I hope that you're enjoying retirement. You deserve just the best. Just a wonderful mother and a wonderful friend. And I, for one, appreciate you. So thank you for the kind words. Right back
Thank
at
you. You're
It's all
so
true.
well. I feel the same way about you, and I think it's good that now that I am retired from the anchor desk, I can have deeper conversations with people that have impacted me in my life, and people that are doing good things in life and in the community. Everyone has a story. Your story started in Aynor, and you've worked hard, you've gone to school, you've served the people, and now here you are doing amazing things at the solicitor's office. And it's not easy to be in your position and run an office where there's a lot on the docket. There's a lot happening, a lot of cases to deal with, a lot of people's lives that you are dealing with every day. And so you're working through partnerships with the federal government. You're working on how regards to human trafficking, gangs, and drugs. It's a lot. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, it all kind of dovetails together, Nicole, but I tell people all the time, every state is different with their judicial system. In South Carolina, it basically grew up and came together on a wing and a prayer. There was no money involved in it. And that's why our voir dire is very short. You don't see a case going on for 2 or 3 or 4 months in trial. Generally, it's over in 4 or 5 days. But because of those things, and because of not having a lot of funds and a lot of resources, the good part of that is it causes you to think outside of the box.
Yeah.
So that makes up for so much. When we've recently started talking about human trafficking,
Yeah.
I was saying we had a gang problem. Well, when the Chamber of Commerce didn't want to say anything about it. You saw it, you might as well admit to it, and let's get to work on this thing.
Do something about it.
But what we found, and I so appreciate being able to talk more than in 30-second segments, but what we found is there is a place for local law enforcement. And that is when Nicole calls and says, hey, so-and-so selling dope on the corner again. Local law enforcement goes, they arrest so-and-so, put him in jail, we prosecute him, and that takes care of it. Now, the federal partnership, and you need both, one won't work without the other, but the federal partnership, they hear so-and-so's on the sideline selling dope, and then they go not only to pick him up, but where is he getting dope from? And that, takes a year and a half. That is a very long and intensive process where people just wouldn't put up with that from their local law enforcement. I've called you 12 times and he's still out there. Well, the feds are doing something different. They're tapping phones, they're going much deeper in it, and they're taking down an entire gang. So what you'll see on all of these case files that go state, you'll have one person, maybe two people represented in a file, and it'll be for one time selling dope. When the feds put together a case, it is sometimes up to 90 people. We did Broken Branch for Cedar Branch the other day. We only arrested 30 through our DEA, FBI partners. We only arrested 30, but there's 60 out there that we can go to at any time and pick those up. We've already got everything prepared on them.
Right.
And Cedar Branch is a different place than it was when you were here. Now, it may go back to pot, but for the present being, we took out 30 of the big gangbangers, drug sellers. Right. Did the same thing with the whole subset of Billy Bloods. And we saw this coming in our area. The spark, I'd love to take credit for it all, but Sherry Lydon, who is a U.S. judge now, Sherry came and met with me and Philip Thompson on her first day in office as South Carolina attorney, U.S. attorney. And she offered help. So what we did is, knowing their lift capacity, I appointed two people that were senior attorneys in the office to be special U.S. attorneys. So we're not fluffing off and giving this to someone else. We go up and try the cases in Florence or in Columbia for the federal government. So people say, well, why would you do that and add that additional burden? It's not. We're going to be doing them one way or the other in state court, but we get to open up all of federal court. We get to open up the federal prisons and the federal jails and the federal courthouses. And more especially during COVID, we had a different outlet to use. And now we've extended that to 3 people in the office that works. And we've got Homeland Security using part of our offices. So we're all in on working these cases, not only from the state level, but also the federal level. And I think at last count, we have prosecuted 100 people in federal court.
Wow.
So we've got to be so conscious of the lift capacity of our federal partners. In state court, you'll handle 10,000 cases a year, just here in Horry County.
Wow.
All across the state, you may handle 400 cases a year in federal court. So we've got to be real judicious about what we send up there. But the right 100 or the right 2 or 3 taken off the street, not allowed to come back with a bond, that makes all the difference in the world to a community like Cedar Branch or downtown Myrtle Beach.
Well, I think it's just common sense that when agencies work together, you accomplish more, you clean up the streets, you cut down on crime. It seems now in our nation, we're seeing more crime in some areas. And it seems to me, when you are working together, you do make that difference and you get that. It's already working.
Yeah. I would be, the way I look at it is we've got plenty. We've got 10,000 cases. I don't need 10,001. I would be glad to let the federal partners come in and cherry pick. In fact, the way we've got it set up is our own attorneys go pick out those cases. We take them to federal court, and we almost every time, because the case is so good, by the time they get there at the bond hearing, it really is a lot of bad words. Hey, you can't do nothing, this, and this. And generally speaking, when the prosecutor says, and yes, judge, I don't mind you listening to the the phone conversations from this wiretap and Ricky over here's phone, then every time, Nicole, before my attorneys can get back to Horry, the phone's ringing off the hook, and all of that screw you stuff is now, hey, can I make a deal? Can you come over here and talk with me? Let me be first in line.
Right.
Because the case is not like a state case. I'm not kicking at our state.
Sure.
I love my Horry County is doing a great job. Sheriff's office, everybody, but it's just so different when you have the blessing of having months to put a case together instead of hours to put a case together, and it shows.
That's awesome. What are your thoughts about where we are in our country, our state, you know, our local municipalities when it comes to crime? What do you see happening?
Well, you know, our area has a growth of about 18% a year. And when we throw that number out there, you know, you say it right fast, it doesn't sound like much, but to grow, it is actually the second fastest growing metropolis in America.
You speaking of Horry and Georgetown together, or just Horry?
Mainly Horry,
Right.
mainly the Grand
Georgetown's not
Strand.
as much. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, because
Just clarifying for
Georgetown's,
people watching.
yeah, Georgetown's have made a conscious effort to keep growth down. And I'm not saying that's right or wrong.
Right.
Honestly, I like less people sometimes, especially with the crime part.
Right.
But when you're growing at that sort of a rate, astonishing numbers, people coming from Ohio, West Virginia, New York, the property values are going through the roof here, and people are just moving in on top of each other.
Right.
With that, you still don't factor in whatever figure you look at, the 14 to 20 million people that come into Myrtle Beach, North Myrtle Beach, Pawleys Island during the course of those summer months.
Right.
That isn't residents. Now, they're not committing a bunch of the crime, but 1% of 20 million is a lot, you know. So we're dealing with a lot of things that go on here, even more so to some extent than Charleston, because Charleston's got a different clientele. Hilton Head's got a different clientele. So it is not shocking that the numbers would be up around 10,000. We've got people, I tell people all the time, the true tourists aren't committing a lot of the crimes. They are sometimes victims.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is our own folks, or more specifically, people that come to Myrtle Beach to get hid for 6-7 months.
Yeah.
We've all seen it. It's not really residents. It's not really visitors. It's that somewhere in between that come here and are hiding out from Shelby, North Carolina, or Charlotte, or, you know, most of it's North Carolina. I was very little of it's Georgia, but those border areas that you can come and get lost in an hour,
Right.
hour or so drive.
Yeah. It's interesting, the dynamics when it comes to a tourist area versus just a regular municipality. It's a game changer a lot. Talk about COVID. We went through COVID and courts got back. Do you think, how did you get through that, and where are we now, and what do you see for the future with the pandemic still upon us with this other variant approaching,
Yeah.
or being seen?
So I think I know we did an excellent job here during COVID, and so much so that we ran our numbers from January 1st to December 31st, 2019, and then we compared those with the same numbers from 2020, and we had gained 726 warrants. Not bad at all, less than 1%. Now, up near you, in Lawrence and some of the places up in the upstate, they went from 5,000 warrants or 6,000 warrants to 11,000 warrants.
Wow.
So every jurisdiction did it a little differently. We went full throttle. When they did open it up for trials, we tried 5 cases in 4 terms of court, felonies, murders.
Yeah.
We just really chose to see court time as a commodity. We pled stuff when the judges said we can't allow victims in the courtroom. We brought the victims down to our office and Zoomed them up. When they said they can't be in the courthouse, we took them to another office and Zoomed them up. We never took no for an answer, and we kept doing court. And when they said defendants can't come in, we sent the defendants to their defense attorney and we Zoomed them in from there. So we never, I knew that there was a possibility of doubling cases coming in, and I did not want to do that.
Sure.
Now, I almost killed the whole office, Nicole. I'm not going to say it was easy or even that it was the right move, but I got COVID. About everybody in here got COVID. So it was risky and risky for a reason. We got sick. Thank God nobody died, but we just didn't stop. We didn't work from home. We worked from work, and we worked from work 40 hours a week or more. Now, I could see with Delta rearing its ugly head. I think last week we had right at 150 cases in Horry County.
Right.
Truly the hot spot of the state by far. I could see somebody in Columbia saying it's time to shut court down again. And if they do, we just have to deal with it, and we have to adjust on the fly. But while they're doing court, we're going to be prepared and we're going to be ready, and we're going to put in as many as we can during that time, because I could see it stalling again, especially when the kids go back to school. You know, I hope it's not, but our numbers are pretty high.
Well, no doubt you're a hard worker and you'll keep going no matter what. We've learned that just from hearing you talk today, but I knew it already. So if people didn't know that, now they do, that you were determined to keep making sure you press forward in some very difficult times. I'm praying it won't be that way as we move into the fall either. So we'll have to check back in with each other, and you'll have to let me know how things are going, and maybe we'll have another conversation if there comes some changes ahead to, we can let folks know and how you're planning to handle it and that sort of thing.
Well, there's a lot to talk about, and anytime somebody, Nicole, anytime somebody drops out, just call me. I'm a phone call away. If
drops out of my lineup.
Yeah.
You're so funny.
I'd be glad to get a chance to see you. So I'd be glad to fill in just anytime I can.
You could be my new co-anchor on this thing. We can
wait a minute now.
What? You can get the legal analysis of everything then when it comes to whatever conversation I'm having. So
I've seen some of them on Fox and CNN, and I'm not going to lie to you. I don't brag, but after what I've seen, I think I could probably fit in. I'd be okay.
Get you another job, as if you need forward to more work. Oh gosh, Jimmy, listen, I've enjoyed our time together. You and I could talk for days, but we're going to wrap this up right now, and we'll just have to meet again to talk about some other things in the future and any new initiatives you have come about or anything comes up. Let's come back here and talk about it.
I sure will. Thank you, Nicole.
All right. I appreciate you so much. Folks, that's going to do it for this edition of Conversations with Nicole. Until we see you again, we hope you have a great day.